A Better Route Chapter 128. It's not every day a person got to meet who they were named after, but it was probably the time a person had ever met the dead man they were named after. Kakashi had heard stories from his parents about the first Kakashi and some of the missions and adventures the three of them had gone on. The thing his parents had stressed the most though is that he was hero who sacrificed everything for his village and that if it hadn't been for what he'd done Obito wouldn't be where he was today. At the moment though, Hatake was trying to take out the new one's head with his Tanto, the white light chakra saber, thanks to Black Orochimaru's. That's what I'm going to call Orochimaru when he's controlled by Black Zetsu, control. Apparently Madara had it repaired because Tuhiya had learned so much about it when he was Obito's teammate and it had been broken on a mission before he died. He did at least have enough of his will left to try and speak with his opponent, so what happened to Rin and Obito? I know they're still together since you're their kid and all. Kakashi jumped back from him and launched a phoenix flower attack at him. It wasn't his best attack, but he didn't want to waste too much of chakra before he had to fight Orochimaru, while mom's helping lead the hospital system and dad's the Hokage. Hatake jumped at a large nearby rock and kicked off it and above the fireballs, which exploded behind him. He rushed at his opponent with his Tanto leaving its white streak behind him. Obito's the Hokage? What happened to Sensei? Kakashi barely had time to snap his hand away before his opponent cut it off. He made some quick hand seals and turned his hand into snakes. He died sealing the Kyuubi into his son after it got loose and Kushina died protecting him. Hatake ducked under the snakes and made his incomplete version of the Chidori, running at the second Kakashi. Damn, I really missed a lot didn't I? Kakashi stepped to the side and grabbed the first's arm, like Itachi did against Sasuke in canon, and threw him against the rock he jumped off of earlier. Please, I don't even have time to cover even half of what all must have changed since you've been gone. If Hatake could have felt pain at the moment that really would have hurt. You're hardly using any of your chakra and you're still beating me. Pretty strong, aren't you? Must be the name. Kakashi laughed at joke. Yeah, must be the name. Hayashi had spent many a night praying for nothing more than to see his wife once again. Yet, as she stood before him at this moment, he wanted nothing more than for this to be one of the many dreams he'd had about her over the years. His wife's incredibly quick strikes and flawless gentle fist style let him know it was all too real however. It had been running joke between the members of the Hyuga clan that Hayashi's wife may have been even more powerful than she was. He'd never been offended when they said that though, as even he knew that may have very well been the case. The only thing Hayashi really had her beaten in was raw strength, while Haria was faster, more flexible, and was Hayashi equal in technique. She was definitely one of the Hyuga clan's most feared kunoichi. Haria could help but ask her husband about her daughters as she fought. Please, tell me how Hinata and Hanabi are? How old are they now? What do they look like? Hayashi and Haria were literally bouncing off of one another, as their strikes were so similar. Hinata is 17, and couldn't possibly look more like you. Hanabi is 13 and got more of my looks than yours. Somehow, she still turned out to be quite pretty. Haria giggled at the last remark as the two both began rotate on their heels and used the heavenly spin. The attacks crashed together and sent the two of them flying away from one another. Are they both happy and strong? Hayashi charged at his wife and tried to sweep her legs, but she merely did a backflip and jumped out of his way. They're both incredibly powerful and Hinata is even close to become head. She's getting married, to my old teammate's son. You remember Naruto, Minato's boy don't you? Haria smiled wide as she finally landed a blow on her husband's shoulder thanks to her superior speed. That's wonderful. I only wish I could be there for her. Hayashi winced as his wife shut down 2 more of his chakra points. At the rate this fight is going, I don't think I'll be there for her either. Haria hated what Black Orochimaru was making her do. Please Hayashi-kun, you've got to defeat me. Hinata and Hanabi need you. Hayashi wiped some blood from the corner of his mouth. I'm trying, Harriet-chan, but you're not making it easy on me. Harriet didn't say anything else. Her body merely began to move on its own once more and she charged back at her husband. Tsum had always been known to almost never shy away from a fight. There was almost no one who could hurt her to back down when it came to a good brawl. However, her husband Otoba had been one of the few people she'd hoped she'd never have to fight. In fact, there had been almost no one in the Leaf who had wanted to fight him. In his prime, Otoba had been one of the Leaf's top shinobi. Before his death he was even on verge of being put in as an S rank in the bingo books. However, he'd also been one of the first on scene on the day Kurama had been released, and like the majority of the first on the scene, he didn't make it out alive. He was one of the only power hitters the Leaf had lost that day, Kushina and Minato included of course. Otoba was considered by many to be the greatest clan head the Inuzuka had ever had seen, along with his partner Adakura. The two of them had attacks strong enough to make some dent in Kurama's hide, so they weren't to be fucked with. However, Tsum didn't have the option of backing out. Tsum had barely even gotten into her fighting position when Adakura began to use the Fong over Fong and came right for her. Luckily, Kurama noticed before she did and launched a counterattack with a Fong over Fong of his own. Tsum didn't want to give Otoba a chance to attack, so she went straight for him. Otoba made a hand seal a certain Uzumaki was famous for and created a shadow clone. She scowled and tried to go into the Fong over Fong so that she could take them both out, but Otoba's clones were too quick. They both made the Inuzuka's infamous drill and collided with Tsum. Before long she was sent flying back into a cliff along with Kuramaru, who had lost the first round against Adakura. Otoba dispelled his clone and sighed, "You didn't forget how much chakra I had, now did you, puppy eyes?" Tsum cringed as she stood up. "No, I didn't. Your reserves were one of the largest in the village. You're still the best, but I think Kiba just might be giving you a run for your money." Otoba bared his claws and lunged at Tsum, taking a big slash at her gut. "How are the pups doing anyways?" Tsum dodged the blow and embedded her claw into his shoulder, causing him to grab her flak jacket and throw her over his head. She was panting when she landed. "They're both doing great and they've picked their mates. You can definitely tell Kiba's your son because he fell head over heels for a girl with huge boobs." Otoba couldn't keep from chuckling as he appeared by Tsum and punched her hard in the stomach. "That's my boy." Tsum jumped back and tried to get her bearings. The fight had barely even started and Otoba was already kicking the shit out of her. This wasn't going to end well if she didn't think of something soon. Naruto could hardly watch as his mother's chakra chains ripped through the ranks of the shinobi that were coming after her. It was like some kind horrible joke that he finally got to meet his mother in real world instead of in his head, and now he had to fight her. He knew that he had the best chance out of anyone of beating her. He would just need a little help. "Kurama, we've gotta stop her. You must know her style better than anyone, so I'm gonna need you to tell me what to do." Kurama couldn't say no in this situation. "You got it, kid, but this is gonna be hard. Those chakra chains were able to contain me. You're gonna need some strategy if you wanna beat her." Naruto cracked his knuckles. "I figured that out already. Let's do this." He sprinted at his mother and waited for chains to come at him. The way he figured, the best way to start was to see just what they could do. Next thing he knew, the gold chains were coming right at him, which Naruto just ducked under. At first he thought he'd gotten past it, but it turned around and grabbed him by the ankle. It yanked him hard and threw him right in front of his mother. She looked horrified to see him, so it was the Kyuubi's chakra, I sensed. "I'm sorry, Naruto, but I don't have choice but to fight you, at least for now." Naruto's ears perked up at that last part. "Wait, what do you mean for now?" Kushina looked like she was deep in thought. "Just something I'm working on." Naruto wanted to know more, but Kurama started to scream in his head, behind you. Naruto jumped up just in time to avoid a chakra chain coming right at his back. Once again though, the chain whirled around right at him. Oh hell no, not again. Kurama had another idea. Wait, let it catch you. Just trust me, I've got a plan. Naruto didn't like it, but he did as Kurama asked. The chain wrapped around his waist and pulled him into the air. Kit, throw one of your special kunai right behind her. Naruto suddenly got what he wanted him to do and threw the kunai where he'd asked. He teleported behind his mother with a Rasengan already in hand. It was shoved right into Kushina back and blew her a good 50 feet away. She couldn't help but notice the jutsu he used. You learned the Fly Thunder God technique, that's really impressive. How did you know it takes me longer to get the chakra chains behind me? Naruto grinned. Kurama told me, and it worked great. Kushina had feeling that was it, he always a tricky one. But you're gonna need more than just that to beat me. Naruto got his foxy grin. Don't worry, I'm just getting started, see you in the next one.